Hey everybody. Hmm. That was pretty great. Can't complain. Hmm. Valentine's Day is always great when you're happily married, so you know, just another day of being happy with wife. Ugh. Hey, Scalbert. Hey, Pew Pew. Ah, that's nice. Yeah, I had a bit of some sort of like a flu-like thing a few weeks ago, like a week ago or so. That sucked. Comment action is on Twitch currently, but it does tend to shift. I have moved on from Dirty Prudes Must Die, and currently most of my playlist tends to be a lot of Dracula the musical and some Goosebumps the musical, because there's a theme in that one that just hits hard. And considering I'm also streaming on YouTube, I can't play them now, but God, I wish I could. Yes, this is one of the illustrations for book one of Letters to the Vampire Queen. Yeah, Jekyll and Hyde is really excellent. Also, uh, honestly, pretty much anything that that guy has made. What was his name? Torn something. I gotta remember his name properly. But yeah, Jekyll and Hyde, Death Note, Dracula musical, Scarlet Pimpernel, Count of Monte Cristo. Like he's got this really strong way of making these powerful songs that are just kind of very, yeah, they raise you up. It's very cool. Oh yeah, this book is gonna be fucking like. Listen, I am not a fan of my own work, notoriously so. But this thing, it does things to me. Like it genuinely excites me to read it, and that's a very strange feeling for me. I don't. I generally tend to just cringe at my own work because, it's that perfectionist creator thing where it's like whatever you make it 1 minute and go like, oh, this looks good. Like, you know, 5 minutes later you look at it again and you're like, ugh, this fucking sucks. Well, I am very happy to say that Letters to the Vampire Queen does not cause that. Does not do that to me. It genuinely makes me just excited to keep going. Oh yeah, that's very much intentional. Lysandra is a self-insert. The whole concept of her writing letters to the Vampire Queen is basically in canon of Sunstone, is inspired by her and Allison's initial flirting online by sending messages to each other. Except it's all wrapped into this like really really intense thriller horror fantasy thing. That's awesome. At what point in the Sunstone story does Lisa write it? That's gonna start in. Let me just check. Okay, we are 9, 10, and 11 is the Marion and Alan. 12 is starts Alan and so it's gonna be volume 12. That's when she actually finally gets over her intense uh, self-criticism and self-loathing about writing a vampire story and actually jumps into it. So it's gonna be funny. Oh, Confrontation is so good, and like when you see the actual, so there is a pro shoot available on YouTube that has David Hasselhoff playing as Jekyll and Hyde, and like when I first saw it was David Hasselhoff, my first initial response was, "Oh my god, that's David Hasselhoff. That's so silly." And then very briefly into it, you go, "Shit, David Hasselhoff got hands. Holy shit, what the fuck?" And yeah, the rest is history. Then you get to the confrontation scene, and you're like, "Fuck." Hey, dude. Another little fun tidbit is Anne is one of like the beta readers for Letters to the Vampire Queen in Sunstone Universe, and the song "Melody of the Night" that Lara sings and that Lara has written is actually kind of inspired by Marianne of My Dark Heart. Hey, Nicola. Yeah, this book is fully its own universe and fully its own thing, but also fully within the Sunstone universe, which is just hilarious. And like when I actually do the Kickstarter for it, one of the unlock things is gonna be its dust jacket is gonna be double sided. On one side, I'm gonna be the author with my biography at the back, and on the other one is gonna be Lisa with her biography at the back, on the back. Have I written full lyrics for that? No, that's literally on my to-do list. There's a to-do list that is like write Marion of My Dark Heart, because I've written already the song of the Dusk Mothers, except I'm gonna have to reword some things because I'm not gonna call them the Dusk Mothers, mostly because that's a term that's already used in some other work of fiction, so I wanna kind of avoid that. So I'm gonna reword a little bit of that, but that one came out really well. Uh, and I have to do Melody of the Night now. The problem is I have to like whenever I make these things, I kind of have to have an anchor point melody for myself that I have to figure out, and then I have to build on that. I'm on it. Okay, if I could write down the entire Marion of My Dark Heart by the end of Volume 8 of Sunstone, I got this. Funny thing is, I still have to find myself some metal band that can actually perform Marion of My Dark Heart based on my outlines for the melody and how to pull it off. I got so many plans and so little time. Now, I fully intend to actually like hire somebody who like is competent at doing that, and I will pay them to make the songs, just basically for a sort of a audience reference. Yeah. So when they read Sunstone, they have a clear idea of what the song "Marion of My Dark Heart" sounds like. When they read Letters to the Vampire Queen, they'll know what the song of the Dusk Mothers sounds like, and they'll know what Melody of the Night sounds like. That's one of those things. Is like it's very difficult to kind of put in music when you're making comics, like or books, because it's like yeah, even Tolkien's works have a lot of songs in them. They're just kind of for a lot of readers, let's be real, is a skip moment, until you hear a proper rendition of it, and then all of a sudden, like, holy shit, all of a sudden, something that was just far over the misty mountains, cold, blah 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 blah, it turns into like the song from The Hobbit, and you're like, holy shit, that song slaps, and you're like, oh, it brings different connotations. I don't have a I don't have a singing voice. Yeah, oh yeah, Clamavi the Profundis also, they're fucking awesome. Or I could just not be involved in any part of it, and be professional about it and let people who know what they're doing do it. That's pretty much one of the big reasons why I won't be reading my audiobook version of Letters to the Vampire Queen. I could, if you really, really want it to sound like it's being read by, you know, Lord Dracula with Tourette's syndrome. But I personally don't like that idea, so I'm just gonna fucking pay Autumn Ivy to do it for me, because she's got a really fucking good way of reading. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm a big fan of paying a fellow artist to do a thing. Okay, just listen. I am a simple man. If somebody can do it better, I let them do it. If I had the money to afford it, I would have just hired Abigail Larson to illustrate my whole ass book. You know, I'm good. She's better for this. I have my strength. Don't get me wrong. Like what I am gonna do with this, it's gonna be great. Hers would be a little bit better. No, I don't smoke. I'm not a drinking man. I'm not a smoking man. I am a caffeine man. That's my drug of choice. That is, I am the 15 cups of coffee a day kind of man. Oh yeah, caffeine has no power over me. It is a part of me, though. I am one with it. You say corrupted, I say symbiosis. We are Venom. Am I still working on Killer Shield maintenance? Not currently, because scheduled stuff needs to be cleared. The first book of Achilles Shield Maidens is scheduled to be kickstarted next year, so that is a plan to go through, but right now, no, not currently. But that's kind of like saying, I'm not currently working on The Queen and the Woodborn. That book's also gonna get finished. It's just, multiple things. Emerson. Hey, Flicker. You saw me make this with a more traditional sketch. How come? Because I am trying my best to use more references while working to improve my skills. Because the more you do without references, the more your style kicks in, which good thing to a degree. There comes a point always where stuff starts to slide. You start, I call it the learning to write syndrome, where it's like when you learn to write, when you write letter A, just what's happening? Oh yeah, when you're writing like, let's say you're writing letter A, when you're learning it, it's a nice, clear, shapes. But the longer you do it, the more faster it becomes, and then it gets distorted to something that's more comfortable for you to do, right? Same as with working with painting, right? No matter how well you learn how to do things without any references, if you don't take some time and return to references over time, uh, your proportions will start slipping and sliding. So every now and then, roughly every few months for me, I try my best to actively use some references to get my proportions back in order. Because it's a cool gimmick to be able to do all of this without references, but at the same time, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Because you do it enough, and all of a sudden, your stuff starts sliding. Yeah, once you actually learn, you generally don't use references, but references and the studies are incredibly important because, again, over time, the more you don't use references, the more you kind of start mentally filling in gaps. You start kind of fudging things, and like you convince yourself that you're not fudging it, but you're fudging it. So I make sure to either use references when I basically most of my reference use tends to be when I'm sculpting. That's my best time to actually study up. But since I haven't had the time to sculpt during the last 3, 4 months, I have to make do with just using them while I'm painting. Do I ever full on study these days? Yeah, well, basically when I'm sculpting, that's when I will whip out hundreds upon hundreds of references if needed. Like because let me show you something. Uh, let's say okay, let me find it. Lightbox off. That's gonna be here. Most recent details. Where did I put it? Okay. So let's see, is this, let me just see, sort by one. It's gonna take a hot minute because ZBrush is not the fastest of loading programs, especially when it's one of my sculpts. But let's say, like I'll take some time and decide like I want to sculpt something like this, right? And so for this, I will pull out a stupid amount of references and just go to town on it, just get to work. And this is generally where I do my studies. I opened this one because this one's most safe for work because I have a bunch of sandstone and fine print sculpts that are, in different degrees of spice. But so when I'm sculpting something like this, I will pull out as many references as possible and just start building up shapes. Start from every possible angle. I will just keep working and working and working and working and working and working, and one day I'm gonna finish it. It's gonna happen. But yeah, this is my study ground. With paintings, by that point I've done so much studying of uh, proportions properly to the point where I can just kind of fucking wing it. Like at this point, uh, like let's say about 95% of my stuff is done without references, and then about 5% of stuff is done with references. I wish I was doing more with references. I just lack the patience of finding references because my problem is I have very clear ideas of what I want to do, and finding references in those specific poses is a incredible pain in the ass. So what do you mean ZBrush broke stream? Seems to be working fine. Did it like crash or? Yeah, I mean, of course he was exaggerating, but like he was exaggerating in a way where it's like, at a later stage in his life, he very much didn't need to use references. His visual memory got trained in the same way that I got mine trained, except, he probably got it more trained because he got further along the way, But that's the thing is like, at some point you remember this stuff, you understand it, and you kind of can just wing it. But still, it is always like it's one of those things like I don't recommend the way I do to people because the way I work was I adopted this method of work of no reference and this bullshit during the very toxic early days of digital art, where people were kind of obsessively trying to figure out what's cheating and what's not, to the point where on digital forums at the time we all kind of started internalizing this idea that references were cheating, which is the stupidest fucking thing. It's just, oh my god. Suffice to say, it stunted my creative growth for a decade or so at least. Wait, did it start lagging because of when I was loading ZBrush? That's just weird. Man, one day I'm gonna have the time to actually finish this, because I really, really want Henke to print this pretty large for me so that I can actually paint it. Okay, I can actually shut off ZBrush and not just have it be in the background draining my computer's resources for no reason. Yeah, crazy idea. Yeah, that's the thing. Is like this is why you get a lot of really dumb ideas over time, and you kind of have to chase that shit away over time. Otherwise, you're gonna just soft lock yourself in your creative growth. Yep, literally that. And just before anybody gets clever at some point, hearing me say all this and go like, "Well, see, that justifies use of AI." No, no, god damn it, no. Use of AI just means that you're letting a machine assemble things for you as you grow actively dumber. The true beauty of using references is finding them, like that perfectly ripe piece of fruit, and then assembling a composition from elements of it, and learning as you do it. AI robs you of the process of learning. It stunts your growth. It stunts your creativity. I've seen artists who use it. They're like, "Oh well, this is gonna make things faster for me." You're giving away your humanity actively. Like you're worsening your own creative growth by even engaging with that shit. Because like, man, like one of the biggest skill sets an artist develops over time is the decision making skills, is making a choice between what looks good and what doesn't, what composition works and which doesn't. Learning from that one mistake at a time is what makes you great over time. Letting a computer fucking just ape somebody else's compositions and assemble the Frankenstein together a thing for you. Sorry to say, no, no, it's not the same thing. But it does stem from this sort of late stage capitalism mindset where everything's a product first, and process and progress are just kind of they are things that must be eliminated. It's the content culture as well. It's like, oh, well, I must make a thing every day. It's like you can, but you 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 do not must. Yep, and that's the one big thing that they cast aside when turning to these generated Frankensteining together slop. That's actually one of the biggest reasons why I'm fast in my work. I make decisions fast. I'm a quick thinker because I've trained my mind over 20 plus years of this to think fast and make solutions and make decisions fast and commit to them. Because, yeah. And yeah, sometimes I'll fuck it up. I'll make a decision and it's gonna seem like pure gold. And by the time I'm deep into it, it's gonna look like shit. But I'm gonna learn from that experience as well. That one's also gonna make me go like, ooh, maybe next time, don't do that, you know. And so I won't until I do, and then I'm gonna learn again. Because that's the one thing people don't really get. That's the biggest danger of AI. It will collectively make us stupider. Not even by it being just a deepfake generator, you know. It's not just that. Like that's bad enough on its own. Every single aspect of it is bad enough on its own. But the long-term effect of just stunting mental development of humanity is gonna be a tall price to pay. Because people who defend it keep forgetting the crucial element. While AI is computer, we are organic life forms, and as organic life forms, we require that practice. We require that trial and error process to actually internalize knowledge. And without it, with everything being served to you as a as a big old bowl of slop to a pig, well, you know what they do to pigs in the end. So so what's the scene about? Well, Lysandra here has come to the local House of Welcoming Shadows, aka Bordello, to pick up her friend who works there as a special services lady of the night. And as she gets there, is surprised to find her friend dressed up in a different way and wearing a wig, and servicing this Duchess with a specific set of tastes. And when the Duchess notices Lysandra, her appetites expand and suggests that next time Syrah here brings Lysandre along, and she will pay triple, which then leads Lysandra to start considering some questionable decisions that then lead to an absolute fucking disaster. It's gonna be great. And this series of events is what basically ends up leading Lysandra to a dilapidated castle that was once owned by a vampire queen. Hilarity ensues, except not really. So you here's the real thing, right? Um, whatever gets you to draw. It's as simple as that. If your heart is set on fan art, go with fan art. Draw some fan art. If your heart is set on create your own stuff, go with that. Now, the smart thing is always to kind of do a mix and match. Uh, I used to describe it to people like this: start off by doing two fan arts, one personal. As things go along, as you get better, as you gain an audience, change it up. Every 2 weeks, go two personal, one fan arts. Every 2 days or whatever. Change up the schedule until you start getting to a point where it's two fan arts, two personal, one fan art, and then eventually, if you gain an audience, there's an interest in your personal work. You swap more and more and more to personal, and you kind of phase out the fan arts, not because you don't like to do them, but because you like doing your own thing more. That's been the case for me. Thanks, Anton. Yeah, the in Letters to the Vampire Queen, that's what they call the large city bordellos, the houses of welcoming shadows. Hilarity, we have such things as share variety. Very much so, yes. Um, it gets get the story. The story is it's a romantasy, but that's like the that's like the side element of it. It's very much this kind of dark fantasy thriller. Like there's a lot of romance to it, but at the same time, like this is a plot heavy book. Like this is intense. It's basically all of the skill sets I've learned through the years now compiled into this monstrosity that I'm building. Yeah, it's gonna be a really good book. Like, and I can't believe that I'm saying that because, like I said, I don't usually have a good relationship with my own work. I'm overly critical on a rather unhealthy level, but that's not something I can snap my fingers away and say it's like, well, I'm no longer gonna be doing that. Phew, I'm gonna like my work now. It's like, nah, it's psychological issues don't come with an off switch. But I think this is the first of my works that I genuinely, fully, and thoroughly enjoy. Every time I start doing a reread to just kind of start doing rewrites, I get so enthralled that I forget to work and I just keep reading, right? And I'm like, holy shit, I'm onto something with this one. Yeah, I mean, like it's a recurrent theme because like that's one of those kind of prerequisites for improving. This is why also artists tend to be sensitive towards criticism because it hurts them in the most personal thing, their own sense of flawed work. It's like somebody complaining about something done badly to an artist, like, see, I was right, I am the worst. It's just we are a little bit touched in the head. Yeah. Just remember, the biggest advice I can ever give you is just try as much as you can to work on the things that you want to work on. Pick the topics that you personally love, because it's gonna make everything like if you're motivated to do something right, learning comes much easier. Like I said, that's how I learned 3D. I wanted to make statues of characters that I love. Mostly my own, but like some fan arts as well, where I want to make my own 3D printed statues out of them. And so I kept improving and learning because I was working on something that I wanted to make. That's the biggest artistic life hack possible. And that's why, through formal education, you will tend to kind of have some problems with motivation because very often formal education is structured to, just kind of be a one shoe fits all. And the problem with that is not everybody likes to draw the same stuff. This is Clip Studio Paint. I prefer it over Photoshop for illustration work because it's got a much nicer brush system. I actually got into it like a year or two ago. Yeah, it's a complicated relationship, Amber. It really is. There were times when I would see something done by an artist whose work I admired, but then I see like, you know, they use the reference of somebody standing on their tiptoes and they were like, I'm gonna draw heels, but they don't know how to draw heels, so it's this. This is one of those weird things that you often see. It's like where they'll, They'll draw a person on tiptoes, but then because they don't know how to draw a heel, they've used the reference for the foot, but they don't know how to draw a heel, so it's something like this, like just kind of like jutting out wrongly, not aligning properly, like you could never stand on it, and like part of me is like, oh man, I wanna just kind of point them toward that problem, but at the same time, if I do, then I feel like a dick. It's just it's and like every artist has that. I have my own problems, a billion of them, and it's one of those things. Like, how do you even fucking approach that? Because at the same time, like sometimes somebody will point a thing out to you, and you're gonna be like, shit, I didn't notice I was doing that. Fuck, you know. I do that in writing sometimes, and Linda will be like, "Hey, you notice you're doing this?" I'm like, "Oh shit, I didn't notice." I was like, "Yeah." What kind of work do I do? Is it commission or freelance stuff? I do my own creator-owned works these days. Sometimes I will do work for hire when I feel like it. I've been working in comic industry for decades now. I've done hundreds of comics to the point where I've gotten a reputation of being very reliable and fast and making stuff that people find appealing enough to sell. So at this point in my career, like I'm well established. So I tend to stick to my own work because I've gathered my own audience over time. So I don't really do commissions because I don't have the time for them. Considering I tend to work on about 6 or 7 different books of my own at any given time. So it's yeah. At this point, I'm a kind of a self-sustaining monster. But back in the day, I used to do mostly work for hire, and I even did commission work. That's the thing, when you're starting off, you're kind of picking up anything you can. I started my career as an artist by doing Warhammer cards. Like there was a trading card game of Warhammer, and I did like a dozen or so cards, if not more. I don't even remember anymore. It's been so long ago. So yeah, it's like you kind of start off doing whatever you can. People ask you, "Do you know how to draw this?" Of course I do. Never seen it in my life. They're like, "Okay, so we're gonna need you to do these units and these units and these units." I'm like, as long as you have the references, so that I can, just make sure that it's the correct ones. It's like, yeah, there you go, bam. Like, okay, cool, nailing it. I mean, it happens, but generally I tend to just do commissions when I'm doing what's it called, conventions. Because during a convention, what am I gonna? What else am I gonna do? Just kind of sit there. Do I think we need more artists? You feel invisible, so many talented artists. First of all, I always think we need more artists. And as for you feeling invisible because there's so many talented artists, that's because you are at the stage of your work where other artists' work still intimidates and overshadows you. We've all been there, including myself. I didn't start off talented. I didn't have a talent. I was just poor and pencils were cheap. Um, what happens is you suck at it. That's everything in life. Start a new video game. You're gonna suck at it until you get better at it because through repetition. And so with art, you keep working at it and you feel invisible. And you're gonna keep feeling invisible until one of the things that you make clicks a bit higher. It punches a bit above your usual weight, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, whoa! I was not aware of my own game on this one." And then you're gonna make the next piece, and it's gonna suck probably, and you're gonna feel discouraged. But then, after that passes, because that too is temporary, you're gonna keep doing it, and then you're gonna keep making another one of those good pieces, and it's gonna keep happening more and more often because guess what? You're developing skills. Knowledge compiles. You start growing exponentially, and then at some point, you are one of those artists that intimidated you so much. I know, because that's me. I was staring at the works of others, going like, could never reach this. Oh my God, these are gods. And then I surpassed them. And there are those who look up to my work. They're going to vastly surpass me. You know, that's the process. That's the journey. And that's the journey that all of us take. But that's the journey for everything in life. You know, anything you want to be good at, anything you care about, enough to repeat over and over again, you're gonna improve. I can go and complain that I can't play Dark Souls. My God, it's so hard. I can't do it. If I put time into it, if I put effort into it, if I, at the end of the day, cared, I'd, I'd learn how to play the game. I'd get good at it, and I would live up to its expectations of get good. And that's everything, that's life in a nutshell. You need to care about something enough to the point where the idea of others being better at you than you at it doesn't mean anything. What matters is, are you getting better? There you go. Any plans to attend any conventions this year? I am going to Berlin this summer, I think. Maybe Italy, Luca. I am not sure on that one. Depends on whether or not others are going, the ones that I actually plan to go with. And those are the only ones that I have planned. I plan to do New York and San Diego this year, but I think I'm gonna be staying clear from America for a bit. It's a little spicy there. I don't need the stress of traveling. Uh, oh yeah, if there are any that invite us, because we've been once to Canada to Banff. That was like in the early days of my career, but I haven't been to Canada ever since. I really liked Canada. Yeah, Luca, I heard, is stupidly crowded. It's one of those small cities type deals where it's like it attracts a vast crowd because of like it gets like all the biggest creators, so it's just kind of like insane. For Canada, I don't think I need a visa in Croatia. Yeah, exactly. Honestly, one of the biggest reasons why we want to go is just to kind of chill with Mirka and Olfa again, because her and her boyfriend David, or are they married now? Uh, it's hard to keep track of everything anymore, but they are so much fun to hang out with. And we would love to come back to Canada. Canada was very fun the first time we were there. Did I ever do traditional as well? Oh yes. I used to be a painter, a sculptor, a muralist. I've done pretty much every technique that I could get my hands on, and some weird ones. So yeah, that's actually why I love working in Clip Studio, because it's a gouache brush. Really makes me feel like I'm getting my hands dirty with my acrylics again. Uh, I will use everything I can to make it look good at the end of the day, because basically soft layer hack is your basic bounce light illumination, right? So it's just some people use it in a very kind of a blunt way where it's just overlay it, and others will use it in a way where it's gonna be targeted towards where it's supposed to land. That's basically the difference. But basically, the answer comes down to this: you just work it until it looks right. Like a lot of this stuff for me is just me exploring, trying to figure out what I want to do with it. Because sometimes I'm gonna have a very clear idea, right? Sometimes I'm gonna do a thing that it's just absolutely, a very clear, simple thing that like, okay, I know the illumination, I know the angle, I know everything, no problem. And sometimes, the composition is gonna be a clear idea, but then comes the puzzle of how do I want to illuminate this thing, like, and while my initial instinct here is just to kind of do a sort of a above light that hits and that's gonna illuminate her the most, and then they are gonna be a bit more cast into the shadows here to create a contrast. I'm still kind of working out as just to how much it's going to hit on Lysandra and Syrah here, so it's just kind of a whole lot of trial and error, and a whole lot of this layer, duplicate layer, whole lot of saves coming. Where I just make a new layer, experiment on that, and then, if it works, I keep it. If it doesn't, I go back. Yee. What book is this? Letters to the Vampire Queen. It's a novel that I'm writing that's gonna have a very large collection of illustrations within it. Hey, Mikle.